Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of the most mind-boggling, frankly surreal journeys in modern history. We are going to explore how chaotic, messy, incredibly niche internet culture transformed from inside jokes on early message boards into a literal, global, multi-billion-dollar financial asset class. It's a wild ride, for sure, but the sequence of events we've got lined up is going to make this whole complex evolution crystal clear.
Okay, let's dive into this. $88 billion. Let that number just sink in for a second. That was the peak market capitalization of Dogecoin. We're talking about a cryptocurrency created as a literal joke to poke fun at other cryptocurrencies. At its absolute height, a digital token featuring a picture of a cute Shiba Inu dog was worth more than many massive, highly established Fortune 500 companies. So this absolutely proves we're no longer just talking about funny pictures on the internet. We are talking about an absolute economic powerhouse. Which brings us to the central question of today's explainer. How on earth did internet jokes become macroeconomic assets? Seriously, how do we get from dialing into a screechy 90s modem to trading digital tokens based on internet cats and dogs? To truly wrap our heads around today's billion-dollar meme economies, we actually have to zoom all the way back out to the academic origins of the word itself.
Here is our roadmap for the explainer. We'll start with the billion-dollar joke. Trace the history from genes to JPEGs, see exactly how we document culture, explore the financializing of the internet, and finally, we'll unpack the blockchain culture engine.
Section 1. From genes to JPEGs. The origins of the meme. Before we jump into meme coins, we need to establish what a meme actually is.
So the crucial point is that the word meme wasn't actually invented on some random internet forum. Not at all. It was coined by evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins way back in his 1976 book, The Selfish Gene. Dawkins was trying to figure out how cultural information spreads. He proposed that, just like biological genes replicate and evolve to survive, cultural elements, a catchy jingle, a fashion trend, or a catchphrase, replicate and adapt as they spread from person to person. It's actually fascinating to contrast this deeply serious academic origin with what the word has evolved into today.
Let's track this rapid evolutionary timeline. The very first widely recognized meme actually dates back to the 1940s, with World War II soldiers drawing the "Kilroy was here" graffiti all over Europe. Fast forward a bit to 1996, and the early internet gives us the famous dancing baby animation. In the 2000s, forums exploded with LOL cats and those classic image macros featuring the bold white text. And today, in the 2020s, we're living in the era of post-irony TikToks and audio memes that spread globally in literally seconds. The meme evolved from physical wartime graffiti straight into the default language of the internet.
As this new language became more complex, society realized it needed a dictionary. Section 2. Documenting digital culture.
Check out the rise of Know Your Meme. It started in 2007 simply as a web video series by a group called Rocket Boom. They basically noticed advertisers were using internet jokes without actually knowing where they came from. By 2011, this crowdsourced encyclopedia became so incredibly valuable it was acquired for a seven-figure sum. And look at 2014, this is wild. It was officially inducted into the United States Library of Congress Web Archiving Program, the Library of Congress. The internet realized its inside jokes were valuable enough to document and preserve right alongside humanity's greatest historical artifacts.
But of course, just documenting culture was never going to be enough. Eventually, the internet wanted to monetize it. Section 3. Financializing the internet. Jokes as assets.
Let's trace the timeline of how jokes turned into actual assets. In 2013, Dogecoin launched entirely as a satire, but jumped to 2020 and copycats like Shiba Inu were reaching $43 billion market caps. In late 2024, assets with completely absurd names like Fartcoin were passing $2 billion valuations. No, really. And as we moved into 2024 and 2025, the market expanded again with a massive surge in political meme coins. Tokens like Trump and Libra do billions in trading volume based entirely on political news cycles. So we're seeing everything from dog jokes to neutral political financialization turned into tradable digital assets. Naturally, the traditional financial world is largely baffled by all of this. As American investor David Einhorn bluntly puts it, we have reached the Fartcoin stage of the market cycle. Other than trading and speculation, it serves no other obvious purpose. And it's a completely fair critique from the established Wall Street perspective.
To established investors, these assets lack fundamental value, they rely entirely on the hype of the crowd, and they're seen as inherently dangerous speculative bubbles.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the complete contrast in perspective. According to a recent analysis by Binance, for younger demographics, especially Gen Z, these tokens act as a rebellion against the status quo. For a generation dealing with a lot of economic instability, buying a meme coin isn't really about traditional investing. It's about community. It's about sharing a cultural identity. And yeah, it's a symbolic vote against the outdated financial institutions that they feel locked them out. It's literally culture functioning as a financial statement.
So, what's the actual infrastructure making this new economy possible? Section 4, the Blockchain Culture Engine.
Historically, traditional blockchains optimized for raw technological throughput. They were built specifically for crypto natives. But the Base network, which is a secondary Layer 2 network built on top of Ethereum by Coinbase, took a totally different path. They optimized for cultural scalability. Basically, they realized that everyday people don't care about transaction speeds or back-end tech. They care about belonging to something and participating in internet culture seamlessly. Think of it as treating culture as currency.
How do they actually achieve this cultural scalability? Well, Base taps directly into Coinbase's 110 million plus users. They introduced smart wallets, which means no more writing down 12-word seed phrases on a piece of paper. They enabled gasless transactions, meaning users often don't have to pay network fees, and where there are fees, they are near zero, like 10 cents. They also run massive viral cultural campaigns like On-Chain Summer. They completely eliminated the friction. Now, a normal user can go from just holding a credit card to participating in a decentralized internet culture in about 30 seconds.
And if you're wondering if optimizing for culture is a good business strategy, 54.8%. To put that into perspective, that is Base's massive market share of all Layer 2 revenue captured over the last year. By making the blockchain a fun, accessible place where internet culture lives and transacts, they are generating more revenue than all other Layer 2 networks combined. It's highly profitable.
And this brilliantly illustrates what that cultural ecosystem actually looks like in practice. Here are 3 major tokens on Base. Brett, which peaked at over $1 billion, is inspired by a comic book character. Toshi, valued in the tens of millions, is literally named after the Coinbase CEO's cat. Degen, breaking 100 million, started simply as a reward token for posting good content on a decentralized social network. These aren't just random financial tickers. They are hyper-specific internet subcultures tied directly to real-world valuations.
We've come an incredibly long way from Richard Dawkins' 1976 academic theory of cultural transmission, haven't we? We've journeyed through early forum jokes, viral internet videos, and now we've arrived at an era where communities can instantly financialize their shared humor on culturally scalable blockchains. It leaves us with a fascinating, provocative thought to end our explainer on. If culture truly is the new currency, what meme will you invest in next? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the evolution of memes. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.